to Retired Life. Wish you were here. The podcast where we celebrate vibrant living after 55. I'm your host, Kim Lee, and I'm inviting you to talk about joy, adventure, and reinvention in the best years of our lives, whether it's travel, wellness, friendships, or just embracing a new chapter with confidence. We're here to inspire you to live fully. Today, I'm so excited, very excited, because this is one of my closest friends for many years, to be joined by Dana Jones, entrepreneur and founder of Turning Sexty. Dana created this movement to help women embrace aging with boldness, confidence, style, and joy. Through Turning Sexty, she's inspiring women to feel celebrated, inspired, and cherished as they step into a new stage of their life. Dana, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Kim. Thanks for having me.
Great. So I'm just going to start right off. What inspired you to create Turning Sexty?
Well, it's actually a long time ago. We had a mutual friend, her name's Mary, who I think you had on the podcast.
Yes, I did.
One of the most beautiful women I know. She was actually one of my trainers when I was raising my kids and went to all her fitness classes. And I've always looked up to her as being someone who stays forever young. And she was about to turn 60. I think she's about 7 years old, a little bit older than us, about by 7 years. And surprisingly, when we showed up at her party, she was just not a happy girl. She was slightly freaked out. The word 60 just, you could tell, was hurting her. And I just remember looking at her going, "Oh my God, Mary, you are not turning 60. You are turning sexty." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I love that." And the change in her was so dramatic, how she went from feeling very uncomfortable about this new age she was hitting, this new decade, to, "Oh my gosh, I never looked at it like that." And my husband overheard me and said, "Where did you get that from?" I said, "I don't know. It kind of dropped into my head, and I was just trying to make her feel better, and it just came out of my mouth." So fast forward, he ended up looking it up and found out that there wasn't really that word being used in any way. And so we ended up trademarking Turning Sexty. And he said to me, "Do you realize what the potential of that is to help women change the way they look at aging?" And I said, "Gosh, I never thought about it." And before I knew it, I had started figuring out how to create a brand, and actually more than a brand, a movement that really helped inspire women, not so much from the outside in, but from the inside out, through mindset, finding their youthful spirit again. And to me, that's really how you defy aging, is through the inside out. Youthful spirit, ageless mind creates timeless beauty.
So what are some things you do to create those? The timeless spirit. What are some of the things that you tell women to do that would
unlock their
Yes.
youthful spirit?
Yes.
Well, I think you have to definitely remember to go back to your childhood days. I think there's a lot of conversation out there, and there's a lot of pressure out there about how you look versus how you feel. And at the end of the day, you can do everything you want to the outside, but it really makes a huge difference if, when you look in the mirror, it's about how you feel, not about how you look. Vision is often the sight envy. Sight is often the enemy of vision. You really have to see yourself in a different light through how you feel, not how you look.
And that is one thing we all do. We all play
Oh, we do.
a lot.
We do.
And do
Yes.
goofy things.
Yes.
And it's not important that somebody thinks we're goofy, because we are.
Right.
It's just we're having fun.
Exactly. And I think that's, you have a real opportunity to reinvent yourself. And I think a lot of that can be done through play. being silly again. And if you look at children and watch them, and I think our grandchildren help us bring that. That's one way I find
That's what
it
I
comes
told
back.
them when they
Yes.
came on here. That was one
Oh,
of the things I was like, okay, can you tell them how? And they're, just getting me to jump from the top of the boat instead of
yeah.
just easing. Probably might hurt something, but it was
Well,
fun.
you do have to consider, the choices that you make. And I learned that lesson a couple times, jumping on a trampoline and thinking,
Oh yeah, that was
oh,
bad.
that was not good. Yes. Note to your audience, do not jump on kids' trampolines, probably any trampoline. But I think the idea of, especially surrounding yourself with other younger people like your grandchildren and or even younger people. My husband and I take in a lot of young girls who are in their early teens and 20s. And, we really work with them to help them, guide them into, some critical decision-making times in their life. And that's another way to discover your youthful spirit is kind of reinventing yourself. Think of retirement not as really, getting old and slow and sluggish, but retire your chassis and decide how you can create it to be more purposeful in that phase of your life. So that's another great way to find your youthful spirit again is create a sense of purpose. My dad used to say, give away what you need the most, and it comes back to you tenfold.
Absolutely. We know that. What do you think the societal attitudes are on turning 60, and how is it sexty shifting that
Absolutely. Well,
narrative?
that's a great question, and I think that's where it begins. A good mentor of mine used to say, "Wordology is your biology," and I think you really have to not only mind what you say, but also mind what you inner speak. So, in other words, it's about how you think, and that's where we're really beginning with this brand called Turning Sexty. Is where we want to first start with helping women change their mindset about it. Let's stop calling it 60. Heck, let's call it sexty. And then you can be turning sexty. You can be the sexty one. You can be too sexty. Or you can be sexy forever. So, and that's why we've created this beautiful gift box that we're going to be, that is being sold online to start introducing women to the concept of turning 60 versus turning sexty versus turning 60.
So, turning sexy is about thriving, not just
Yes.
aging. How do you encourage women to embrace their sexuality and self expression in this season of life? And you do. Now,
Mm.
I'm not just, she doesn't just say this, she preaches it. We're always pulling groups together. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. Community becomes a really important part is finding your tribe, your tribe of women that elevate your highs and diminish your lows. And that's a huge part of it is, creating a community. In fact, if you look at the top 10 list of centurions in the world, the top two things that keep you forever young is community, in other words, who your circle of friends are. And number two is the community that you're involved with in day-to-day life. Do you talk to a stranger and say hi to them? Do you, throw a glance and a smile at a young woman who's got kids walking by you? Do you have a conversation with the checkout person, when the lines get lost, when you're in the grocery store? But that kind of interaction is what helps also keep your mind forever young and really is, I think, one of the codes of sexty and diminishes some of the challenges that show up at this age that don't necessarily show up in your 50s. It's a very different decade to navigate. And now that, and I'll admit it, I'm 68 and feeling great. 8 years in, I've learned a lot and was not at all what I expected. And I think it
50s felt
wasn't
like
for
a
you.
continuation of 40s.
Exactly.
I don't even remember them.
Yeah, it was still, it's a big difference. Like sexuality, and let's talk about sex. Sex is very different in your 60s than in your 50s. And, you're post-menopause, most women. And you really have to again, it's about rediscovering how to create those feelings And if you focus from the inside out, you can create that. And having those conversations with your partner or your husband. I know for my husband and I, we decided that we were going to start putting little hearts on the calendar every time we had intimate moments, just for the fun of it. It really was not about a contest or anything like that, but it became like, gosh, we don't only have a few hearts on our calendar. We better get another one on there. But coming up with playful ideas like that become a huge part of recreating your sexuality. And sexuality isn't always about sex. It's, again,
No, I
not
mean,
at all.
especially when women look at their sexuality, it is right down to the core of how you're feeling that day and what
Absolutely.
your psyche is.
Absolutely. It is. And that's something we forget, that we're all energy. And it really, we are. Some people say we're human beings having a spiritual experience, but I really believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yes.
And if you really can focus on your energy and use your imagination, you can conjure up some pretty amazing feelings that put you in that place that, quite honestly, our hormones used to do for us, but now there's some things that we can all learn from each other, and that's what we're hoping to share, in the Turning Sexty brand and movement, is let's figure out how to do this together and really not become something obsolete that you cast aside just because you're older, but that you continue to thrive well into your 60s and beyond.
And have fun.
And have fun. And absolutely
So,
have
for
fun.
people who are very shy and
Mhm.
hesitant, what advice would you give them on rediscovering their sexy? Where's a starting
Mm,
place that
yeah.
slow?
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that are not, they're introverts.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of introverts in the world.
Yeah.
And, take account that it's hard to become part of a community.
Hmm.
And so, what are some things?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to, one of the advantages that you have in your 60s is at this point in your life, we all hopefully are much more self-aware, and we understand it's not about making the right choice. It's about making right of the choices that we make. In other words, for a shy person, having a community may not be their thing, but for them, just getting out in nature might be a way to reconnect. Or I've got a couple friends of mine who literally wear that T-shirt, "I don't do people."
Yes, I
I'm
don't like people.
I don't, yeah, or I'm not peopling today, and I get it, I think as, we all lose our confidence a little bit. And again, you have
What are
to do
some
a lot of
things? Let's think
pivoting.
about this. What?
Yeah. Well, one
Just,
of the things I see some people who, and it's about creating joy, again, going back to the feeling, is they go and volunteer to take care of dogs, or
yeah, that's good.
is sitting with animals. There are some people that just have that beautiful connection with this world of animals, cats and dogs, and you can tell that's who they connect with. Some people are loners, and
Grow a
just,
garden.
yeah, growing a
I
garden. Your
mean,
plants
garden is
become your
taking
friends.
care of something,
Exactly.
and flower garden
Yeah.
or a vegetable garden.
And I think for the women that are more shy, I think innately most women, are nurturers. So if you can find something to nurture, whether it be a garden or an animal, that's a good place to start.
A
Art.
goldfish.
Yeah, a goldfish, a goldfish. Art is another wonderful expression of feeling and beauty. I mean, you're creating beauty. So that's another good way, I think, to kind of reignite your youthful spirit when, there are people and there are non-people people, and that's okay.
Yes.
And that's perfectly okay. But I think the beauty of getting involved even with something like this, even when you're shy or even in retired life, is you hear things that will help you figure what you need out, because it's all very personal, you know. And there's plenty of room for those people that are a little shy, because you can listen in the background and go, this doesn't work for me, but this might work for me. So,
Yeah.
and we're all here to help each other at the end of the day, you know.
Do you have
So
a personal mantra
I do.
or ritual?
Yes, I actually do. I think, one of the things I've been working on in this decade is, I think you guys kind of refer to me a lot as a hummingbird. And I think you're that way too. Some of us just have that extra energy and we don't slow down really easily. But one of the things I've been working on is figuring out ways not to slow down, but to calm down and be more intentional and present. I think grandchildren help you with that. They kind of bring you back and remind you when you didn't do it as a parent, you can now do it with your grandchildren. And I've got 7 of them, so they've been great teachers. But one of the things that I do every morning is when I first wake up, I first go into gratitude. I think of 3 things that I'm very grateful for. The second thing I do is I say to myself, every day in every way, I grow younger and stronger and healthier with age. And then I swing my feet out of bed, stretch my arms up into the sky, and say, I'm alive, I'm alert, I feel great. What I say makes my day, what I say makes everyone else's day. And that's how I begin my day. And then walk right out into nature with, a good cup of tea or coffee, and kind of sit myself calmly for a little bit and just think about, how do I really desire to feel today? Because I think we sometimes forget, and especially when we're younger, that every day we have choices and we get to determine what choices make us feel great or what choices make us don't. And then I think even when you get thrown those curveballs, that do kind of upset you a little bit,
Yes. You just have to start over.
you have to start over. Yeah.
It's like every day you could start over.
There's power in the pause, and I've really learned to pause when things happen. Take 3 deep breaths, because again, we're energy. Got to remember to breathe. And that helps me then navigate those things. But this is the wisdom that we forget that we really have inside us when we turn 60. And now we get to really apply it in a way that serves us probably greater and most importantly than any other time in our life. Because what we do in our 60s will really determine how we are when we're our parents' age, So,
So
that's,
this is kind of on the same question, but what kind of affirmations or practices can women adopt to feel more youthful and playful and fun as they
yeah.
age?
Well, I think that, starting out like with finding a good mantra that serves you. And the mistake that we make is we look at the outside first, and that's the first mistake we make. Things on the outside won't change until we start changing on the inside. And the first thing I think women can do is when you wake up in the morning, how often do we go and look at the mirror and go, oh my God, I look so tired. Oh, there's another wrinkle. Damn. And that's the first thing that we can change when we wake up in the morning, is rather than looking at ourselves in the mirror with that disrespect. You would never say that to a friend. You've got to start with yourself. I even put a list of I ams
Yeah, you
in
need
front.
to treat yourself like your best friend.
You do. We do.
Definitely.
It's probably the number one thing.
So I'm going to take you to the seashore today.
That's right. We need, if there's anything we need to learn, and a lot of us, in this generation especially, we're known as the sandwich generation. And I don't know about you, Kim, but I know you and I have both said, I just never expected it to be this busy, because now we have grandchildren. We still have adult children that rely on us. We still work, a lot of us, or we don't want to stop working.
Or we've gone into the next phase of our working, because a lot of people retire from the corporate world or whatever and change over into
exactly.
another.
And we watch our parents passing, or we still take care of them. I take care of my mom, and it's a lot. She's 92 and she can't care for herself anymore. However, you have to be careful not to perpetuate the cycle of having someone that is going to now have to take care of you because you sacrificed yourself to take care of them. You've always got to remember to put the oxygen mask on yourself, because when you're better, it makes everybody better, you know.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably the number one responsibility we have as a human being, is be selfish first so that you can be more selfless.
So, what have you seen within the Turning Sexty community? Are there any inspiring stories of women who rediscovered their joy and confidence?
Yeah, I think one of them is one of our group, that is in our group. When we first all got together, which was 8 years ago, it started out very different,
Totally.
totally different. We were really just
Well, even before that, we were doing
Yes.
something different.
We were doing something very different.
Yes.
But, sometimes, I'm a big believer, as I'm sure a lot of people are, that everything happens for a reason. And this has really morphed into something so much bigger than me. I think originally it was just something fun to do and play with, And now I really feel it's become, for me, a purpose and a mission. And one of the inspiring stories is one of the girls that got on board with us. We were all married except for her. And watching her come from a really bad divorce experience to now she's engaged, she's found the love of her life. She's blossomed into this
Always happy.
always happy now. And, we all, I think, spent a lot of time with her, talking to her when she was going through some of the challenges and frustrations and feelings. And that's, again, that's what this community has done for us and for others, is it really diminishes your lows and elevates your highs. And you watch really people become a new butterfly of some kind. And that's really what she's done. She's turned into this, beautiful, thriving, sexy 8-year-old, 8 years young. I don't even want to use the word old.
Do you want to open your box and show us?
Oh, I'd love
just
to.
Real quick.
Yeah, so again, right now we're really working to establish the name. So remember, ladies and men, if you want to embrace this, you're not turning 60, you're turning sexty. So we've created this beautiful gift box that you can send to somebody that you know that's turning 60. And it basically has a wine glass, a beautiful iridescent wine glass or tumbler if you're a non-drinker, and a coffee or tea mug. I'm not going to try to pull it out so I don't mess with it. And then you get a welcome card, and then you get this beautiful candle in a satin-lined box. And I'm going to need my glasses to read you what it says, but I was really careful to pick specific scents because I wanted something that really identified with what the decade of sexty, is. And it says, unleash your inner sexty with our signature scent, notes of uplifting, energetic orange, the vitality and strength of sandalwood, and the universally alluring vanilla. And then inside really smells delicious. Yeah. I don't know if you smelled it. Yes.
We all did the smell test.
Yes,
remember?
that's right. You were my, inside is a little heartstone. And when a woman receives the gift, she can go to our website, and in it she it says on the side, you can put your phone on for the QR code. Inside this candle is a special heartstone just for you. Use this QR code to discover what your gift for the year may help you unleash from within. So it's a special way to invite you into the community. And then we have T-shirts like this. We've got a cute little canvas bag. And we're going to be bringing more products online. We have a podcast starting in January that will, talk about a lot of the important things that we face in our 60th decade, whether it be financial, what happens if we get dementia, how do we overcome these feelings of being obsolete, and creating a beautiful community of like-minded individuals who are all there to support us and help us thrive.
Okay. I am so happy you came in today because honestly, I've heard all that, but today you pulled it all together and
thank you.
Sounded beautiful.
Thank you so much. We're real excited. We're really excited
So
to.
Thank you, and for sharing your vision, which really is just, when you're aging, you need to age boldly.
Yes, absolutely.
And today I have for you your
Aw,
apron.
I love it. I love
You
it.
know how we love aprons.
Yes, I do.
Ret-
Yes, and you and I have a love of cooking, which is another wonderful passion, that you get to enjoy, as part of the way to create fun, if that's your personal expression. Thank
And
you.
for all of you who listen to us regularly, we have our merchandise that helps support the program. And we want you to check it out. Perfect for celebrating your own retired life in style, from mugs and shirts to beach bags and hats. Our gear is designed to remind you that retirement is the start of something amazing. So visit retiredlifewywh.com to see our full collection. Thank you, and remember, subscribe and follow. Thank you.